Alright, so this is the guard that I'm in the middle of drilling. When I say guard, this is what often we pop in the grow bed, a little bit of piping in there to stop any of the gravel from getting into the outlet pipe. So we'll have a standpipe in there that'll be, coming out to the underneath the grow bed. But this is just one way of being able to prevent any of the gravel getting caught up where it needs to go. Now, I'll be honest, this is a 90mm pipe, and I normally would be bolting that in with a nut and bolt, but I did see online somewhere, it was Rob Gray's videos where he screwed it in. So I thought that was a brilliant idea, because not everybody can fit their hand in the guards at 90mm. So he suggested three screws at different places, and screw it in. So at the moment it's screwed in so that I can finish the drilling. So I'm only halfway, as you can see. I need to continue going all the way around. And we want to keep the top part solid. And you'll see that I've got a cap on here. It's a 90mm cap. This is the size of the hole for the plumbing that I'm using that's going to go through. By keeping the cap on and screwing the cap on, this allows us to make sure that no one can accidentally lift up this pipe, this guard, and then let anyone, let all the clay go in. It's so easily done. So it's a brilliant design. It's not my design, but it is a brilliant design. And as I said, whoopsie, the screws definitely make it an awful lot easier. So once I finish the drilling, I'm then going to go around with my knife and get rid of all of these sharp edges. And we're wanting to make sure also that we are we are drilling holes in the bottom of the cap, but not the complete bottom. This is going to be up flush against the grow bed base, so we will have an O-ring on this side and the fitting coming through, which I shall show in another video. I just wanted to show, this is how we're drilling. You can draw your dots where you want it to be. I'm fairly good at getting it like that. I've been doing it for a long time, but yes, drawing your dots is a good way of doing it. Just make sure that they come off once you're done. Cool. Let's keep moving. As far as the hole size, I should say, as far as the size of the holes, you just got to make sure that you're not doing holes that are too small, because you want water to be able to flow through, and you don't want them too big. So what does that mean? That means find the smallest bits of clay or gravel that you're using and see if that'll fit in the hole. If it fits into the hole, then it needs to be a smaller hole. If it doesn't fit in and it just presses up against it, then that's a good size. So there's no right or wrong, because it will really depend on the shape of your gravel or clay. So just identifying what that shape is, what that size is, and making sure that the hole is smaller. Now, some people do use their electric saw and cut lines. It's nice, neat, clean, and looks nice, but not everybody uses an electric saw. I personally don't, so I'm more than happy to go with the drill and then just go through, and as I said, take off all these edgy parts, because we don't want that to go through the filter, and we don't want that to go to the fish, because the fish start eating that can get caught in their digestive tract and all those yucky things. So yes, I'm going to go and continue drilling and get it ready to put in. last bit. So very slowly filling up. So what I've now done is I have adjusted only the main, like the pump. I've turned it from all the way to on full to medium, so it's not working or pumping quite as hard. So it's going to take a little bit longer to fill up here. And we'll see that it's actually not even pumping in here as hard as what it was, which is great because that means that we won't have the problem with the Bell Siphon. But this is the importance of having valves at different locations, because at the moment this valve is almost completely turned on, which is sending the water straight back from the pump back into the this is the hose you can see just dangling there. It's sending it straight back into the fish tank because the pump was working too hard. So I can actually now close that a little bit should I choose, but I'm just wanting to test the fact that I've shut off part of the actual pump. Not all pumps have that capacity, by the way, so you need to make sure that, you know, does your pump actually have that? And this is one of the reasons why we have that overflow valve happening here. And another reason why we have valves on either side of the filter. Valves are really, really good for your aquaponics system. People can find it overwhelming, but so we're getting close. This area, which will be covered by the media, is what we would call the wet area, because all of the media up until this point will get wet. But you'll see here I've already got a mark along here which is showing how high the water level has been getting. So any of the media that is above that section, that's what we call the dry section. So there's no bacteria in that dry section, but in the wet section, the part that's getting flooded constantly, or else if it's constantly flooding, constantly got water in it, that's where the bacteria will be. So you can see there's not much happening in the bell as yet, but we've got about a centimetre to go and see how it's going, because I reckon that once I turn this one on, because this is going to be a constant flow system, so we're going to constantly have water in it, well, this is the flood and drain, just to compare the two side by side so it's easy to see how things go, because I know how they go, but not everyone else knows how they go. So I wanted to just demonstrate that. But once I've got these turned on and happening, I'll be able to turn the pump back on a little bit more and have things happening. So just adjusting everything to where we're currently at. And the water level's getting up, and as soon as there's no more air in there, what's happening is the water, as it's rising up into the bell, it's pushing all of the air out, down into the standpipe and down into our grow bed. And any moment that should start to kick in. You can start to see some of the water on the edges. Well, I can see it. I don't know if the camera can. Oh, yeah, you can kind of see. It's nearly there. But now we'll come back down here, because this is always where the fun part is, isn't it? And you can see the water's now starting. Pushing the air out, pushing the air out, pushing the air out. And now we've got the full water lock happening. And now we have the full siphon happening. Woohoo! But you see how low just here the water level is with a flood and drain. If you had a sump, that wouldn't be the case. Your fish tank would stay at a high level. We don't have a sump. This is just a very small little basic system to show people how it works. So I still need to add the pipe to just drop that down so it's actually into the fish tank. That way I won't get the splash coming out. But at the moment we're just wanting to make sure that I've got the proper speed for where it's currently at, so it's going to constantly flood and drain. Because before it would eventually let air go back into the Bell Siphon from the grow bed. But because the water was constantly coming in, it just wasn't enough. It was taking too long. It would almost empty, and then it would just get a fraction of a centimetre every minute dropping down, dropping down. But I can see here that it's moving a lot quicker than what it was, and the speed of the water coming in is nowhere near as hard as what it was. So you can see that's starting to ease off now. It's not quite as strong. The pressure's nowhere near as strong. We've now got the air being pushed through. Air has now gone into the siphon, but not as much. So it's still going. An underwater look at the Bell Siphon as it's about to break. You can see right now that the water's dropping down. We're almost there. And now it's broken and the air has started to come in. There we go. Still going. And there it broke.